This podcast is brought to you by Perpetua, the world's best Amazon ad optimization software. Advertising on Amazon can be time-consuming and complicated. With Perpetua, you don't have to worry about managing keywords and bid prices. Perpetua's AI-powered ad engine does the heavy lifting so you can focus on strategically growing your business. Visit perpetua.io, that's PERPETUA.io, and mention this podcast for 40% off your first month.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello and welcome to Total Retail Talks. In episode 194, Executive Editor Joe Keenan sits down with April Sabral, Vice President of Retail Sales and Operations at DAVIDsTEA, a Canadian specialty tea and tea accessory retailer. Listen in as they discuss DAVIDsTEA's use of app Nudge to communicate quickly and directly with store associates, and the primary benefits realized from using the platform. All recorded live at the 2019 NRF Big Show in New York City. And now, on to the show.
So a good place to start would be to briefly tell our audience a little bit about DAVIDsTEA for those that aren't familiar with the brand.
Sure, yeah. So we were founded 10 years ago. We're Canadian owned. We expanded the definition of tea with over 100 plus innovative blends. So we focus on loose leaf tea, and we share this with the customers in like a very multi-sensory kind of experience in the in-store experience. And what's exciting is that we share it through sampling and creative blends, and we teach our customers the benefits of tea. And the in-store experience is really the defining component, and our secret weapon is our passionately engaged staff that are knowledgeable about tea, which we call our tea guides.
Mm-hmm.
So we just love infusing people's lives with joy through tea.
So you mentioned the in-store, brick and mortar, online as well.
Yep, so we have currently 248 stores. 200 of them are in Canada, and the balance is in the US, and then we do have an online presence too.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. So specific to the in-store experience, let's talk a little bit about your tea guides, as you call them, at DAVIDsTEA, the store associate, and kind of how their role may have shifted and changed a little bit as consumer behaviors change, as kind of digital kind of is become pervasive in store and kind of invades the in-store experience. Talk about what that means for your store associates.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and as things keep evolving, but I don't think it's changed that much for our store associates in terms of like our expectation of sampling and selling like the most amazing tea products. But I do think that what's changed is the customers' expectations of the store associates, our tea guides. And what I mean by that is that they're very educated. So obviously we sell something that, you ingest, it's got benefits, and customers are really focused now, as we all are, on like what we're consuming, what ingredients we put in into our bodies. So I think our tea guides, which have always been, our expectations have always been that they'd be knowledgeable and share that. But I think just having information faster and being more knowledgeable than the consumer walking in, so that we can really share our knowledge and experience when they're asking us those questions, as opposed to, maybe before going and looking in a book somewhere or diving into like a big manual of ingredients. Now we want them to have it at their fingertips so that they can reference it and be the experts that we expect them to be.
Yeah, those customers are coming in. They already have a knowledge of the product. They're doing their research online in many cases.
Yeah.
So you need to not only match that level of knowledge, but exceed it and be able to enhance their experience if they have questions. And,
right, yeah.
Let's talk about some of the technology tools that you're providing your tea guides to help with that, with that experience that they're expected to provide.
So right now we're using a platform called Nudge, which is really helping us because we have 1,700 associates, and then at peak time holidays we go up to an additional 1,300. So it's our biggest challenge is with over 100 plus teas is being able to share that information with the frontline staff so that they can be armed with all the information they need for the customer. So what Nudge is doing for us is it's basically giving us a way to communicate with every single person immediately and be able to push something really fast. And an example of that is, we can react to sales. So say if we launched a tea and maybe we didn't do a great job of like selling through in the first week, what we can do is push some nudges, which are like snippets, if you like kind of information to everybody in the stores, and then put a focus on it, whether it be product knowledge or training or sales goals or launch a contest really, really fast, and then we can see the reaction because we can measure on the back end, like we do quizzes on knowledge checks, and we can see who's engaging with it. We can see how many people have adopted it. So we can kind of get to people faster. And I think sometimes what people forget is, you give all the information to the manager that runs the store, and they have so many things to do. They have to schedule, they have to hire people, they have to, open and close the store and operational tasks. And sometimes that piece of communication doesn't reach the tea guide because they've just got so much to talk about. So that person that's working, 8 hours a week, 2 shifts now can basically open up the Nudge app and read everything and be very well educated when they come to work, which gives them confidence, helps them feel knowledgeable, and again, great experiences. And our managers are appreciating that because now they're more validating information and coaching versus having to push the information. So it's kind of, that's what it's done for us.
Okay, and the Nudge platform, I think you answered, is app-based?
Yeah.
So your tea guides, are they accessing on their own personal devices?
Yeah, so they're accessing it on their own personal devices. And I think, when we first thought about using a personal device, because obviously things are changing, we were all very nervous about, somebody having a phone in the store, right? Like that's a big topic of conversation as we see like more mobile apps and things.
Does it become a distraction?
Yeah, does it become a distraction? Does it stop does it like lower our customer service? But what we found is they're reading it prior to starting a shift. We did write some cell phone policies, right? Just like you do with any other policies, but we haven't seen them distracting. They still engage with the customers. They're still greeting the customers. They're reading it prior to coming in because it literally takes you like 30 seconds to read. And because they want to read it because it's kind of like a points-based app. So they get points for engaging in content. They get points for commenting on content and things like that. The other thing that we've been able to do is gather feedback. So there is kind of like a forum on it where you can ask a question. So we're sitting in the office in Montreal. We can ask a question and we can get 1,000 people's feedback that directly with the customer. So we can make decisions and react quicker, based on that really quick, really agile. So that's really cool. And they want to give us the feedback. Yeah.
So is it required that they check in every single shift? What are the expectation of the tea guide?
Yeah. So the expectation is that they check it every single time they're on shift. But what we're seeing, because we nudge twice a day, so we'll push a nudge in the morning and then one in the afternoon. We thought that would be kind of challenging for them to read, but most of them are reading them on their off time because if you think about our generation that we hire are younger demographics, they're using Instagram, they're using social platforms in terms of communities. So because they love the way Nudge looks and feels and it's so simple, they're actually reading it when they're not at work even. But that wasn't the expectation we gave them, but their adoption rate and knowledge rate is so high. We know that because our voice of the customer, when we get those surveys back, 97% knowledge rate is what the customer's rating us on. With our tea guides. Pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to dig into a little bit more about, you mentioned the kind of incentive part of this. So one, what are some of the different ways that you're measuring performance of store associates? And then the second part of that is, okay, though you have those metrics established or goals established, how are you using incentives then to improve performance?
Yeah, so we measure our tea guides on behaviors and competencies mostly. We're not an individual sales commission-based environment. We're a team selling environment. So what Nudge has been able to do, it's basically providing us like a way to kind of rally the team behind something, and then they gain points, and we can then recognize like individual store teams as a group. We can recognize individual people on the team for engaging and basically maybe they answered all the knowledge checks correctly. So now we can see how that's impacting sales, and we can send them like fun things. Like we do things like we'll send out tea that hasn't been launched yet for an individual with a personalized card because they love the personal recognition and say thank you from different people. And so that's really helping us drive the behaviors that we want, because as much as we have, performance appraisals or annual measurements, which most retailers do, we can now instantly see a change immediately. And when I visit stores, they all want to get the points.
Yeah.
They want the points. It's not really even about the prizes or things like that. They just want to get the points and get recognized for it.
It's kind of like, akin to Almost not, with the points aspect of, your hotel nights or your airline.
Yeah.
It's all about accruing those points. And,
Yeah.
So looking at the partnership with Nudge Rewards, if you were going to kind of list out, one or two or three primary benefits that you've seen that DAVIDsTEA has realized, what would those be?
I think definitely that all tea guides and our store managers and assistant managers, every field employee is definitely informed and knowledgeable on everything that we're doing, whether we can push out an operational practice. It reaches every single person that's on the platform, and we do have like a very high adoption rate. It's over the 90s, so we know that they are informed. I think that it gives us an opportunity to reward our workforce in a different way, and we're providing training in a way that's digestible as well, like as opposed to a traditional learner management system where you have to sit down and take an hour out and that kind of thing. So it's helping us as well with labor. If you think about that, we're not having to schedule trainings
Could be
outside.
A cost saving tool
cost
there.
saving, yeah. And we're reacting faster because we can push and nudge really fast, whereas before we'd have to write a big email document, send it to somebody at the office, and they'd have to do this, and then it would go through 3 layers. So I think now we can just reach people a lot faster and gather that feedback as well.
And what would be an example of some of the are you getting feedback on the way stores are merchandised or product, particular product that maybe isn't being promoted enough, or what's an example of some of the feedback you've got?
Yeah, so some of the feedback we've got on, say for example, if say if we have a tea that's launched and we want to get feedback on selling tips, like what's the best way, how are the stores that are being successful and those tea guides that are being successful, we get them to share how they're doing it. So it could be a way that they're engaging with the customer or the way that they're talking about promo, and then everybody on the platform can kind of read it and see it. So that's really cool. Different ideas on products. So maybe there's something that's missing, that customers are asking our tea guides for. They've been able to give us feedback on that as well. So we've been able to increase certain things, think about things for, obviously like the next year's collection or things like that maybe they've asked us for an ingredient.
Yep.
Like a lot of the health benefits. So our tea guides were giving us feedback around different health benefits, and we've just launched a wellness line. Yeah. And that's really cool because now we're listening and we can kind of give them what they need to be successful.
And to your point, it's really a direct line to your customers that you and headquarters might not have been getting. Now,
because some people edit out, right? Like some people I don't know if I want to tell them that. That doesn't sound good. So now is like that kind of that barrier is gone.
Yep. Yep. And then my last question, April, would be just kind of going forward, looking at some of the different ways that DAVIDsTEA can improve upon the employee experience. How do you see those? One, what do you kind of have in the pipeline, and then two, how are you kind of correlating that back to business performance?
Yeah, so I think one thing that we're always continuing to work on is listen to our employees and really ask them what they want. And then I think a lot of that is they want to be successful because they want to have the information and the product that the customer's asking for, so they can deliver the experience that they know that they want to, that's going to make us successful. So we're always listening to that, whether it be a blend of a tea, an ingredient in a tea, we're always refining that. And then the other piece is leadership and management development. I think focusing on we have a very young demographic. A lot of them are first-time managers in retail, and so we have a lot of success with internal promotions. So we want to really continue to refine and define our leadership management programs so that we can become that place where they can just learn so many cross-functional skills, and that's so critical and important. And then streamlining operational things that, as much as, technology gets layered on and different things, we want to make sure that we're always reviewing what we're using and is it streamlining at them and giving them more time back with the customer, because ultimately that's why they work in our stores. That's what they love about working for us, is that experience with the customer.
Yeah, great. Well, some really great insights there today. I want to take this opportunity to thank April Sabral of DAVIDsTEA for joining me here at NRF. Thank you, April.
Thanks so much.
Increase sales, reduce advertising cost of sale, and save time with AI-optimized Amazon ads. Visit perpetua.io, that's PERPETUA.io, and mention this podcast for 40% off your first month. Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and now on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.